If you're in your mid-30s or early 40s and you're struggling with your hormones, it might be that you are entering the perimenopause. Here in the UK, there is a lot of talk and awareness for menopause, but I still regularly see that women in this 35 to 45 age bracket completely thrown by their hormones and unaware of what's going on. So I'm going to share with you some early signs that might indicate perimenopause. And if we haven't met, hi, I'm Chelsea Green, holistic hormone specialist. I help women transition from peri to postmenopause naturally using homeopathy, herbs, nutrition, and lifestyle medicine. And the truth is, I was one of those women I just mentioned. I went to the doctors for some blood tests because I wasn't feeling like myself. Anxiety had returned. I wasn't sleeping very well. I had terrible energy, spots. I was peeing all the time, gaining weight, and I couldn't understand what was going on because I exercised and I ate well. My blood tests came back and the doctor told me there was absolutely nothing wrong with me. But looking back in hindsight, I can see I was perimenopausal. I had exhausted adrenals and I was on the blood sugar roller coaster. And so what happens is, from around the age of about 35 years, ovarian function slows and we begin to move into those perimenopausal years. Perimenopause tends to be a time of great flux. There is a lot of hormonal fluctuations and symptoms can be random, they can be intense, they can change from day to day or month to month. And that's because progesterone, our lovely calming hormone, it falls first and we end up in this state of estrogen dominance. But as we move through the perimenopause, estrogen will begin to fluctuate, so it can be high and it can be low in this time. But that's what I'm here for, and in fact I've done a video on both low progesterone and estrogen dominance. It's going to be in a playlist with this video. So make sure you go and check both of those videos out next. But in the stages of early perimenopause, symptoms you might expect to see include, so you might see some period changes. They might come earlier or later, or it might change from month to month. There might be changes with the flow in that the heavier days might become heavier and more frequent, and the lighter days might become lighter. And rather than having a clear stop at the end of the period, you might find that you get some spotting or discharges for a few days afterwards. And you might find that you're getting new or more intense symptoms such as bloating, cramping, backache, breast tenderness, or clots. And this is where tracking your cycle can be really useful. Our period can be thought of as an indicator of our health. That is, how stressed we've been, how well we've been eating, the state of the gut, how clogged up the liver is. All of those things can influence the state of the period and the menstrual cycle as a whole. And equally, all of those things will influence your perimenopausal experience. So tracking your cycle can be a really useful tool in this period of time to show you where you need to be focusing your energy in terms of optimizing your health and optimizing your hormones. Another sign that you might be entering the perimenopause is mood changes, particularly in that PMS period, that week leading up to the period. It might be that you're more tearful, more angry, more irritated. You might find the things that don't normally bother you, like telling the children to constantly pick up after themselves, or having to repeat yourself to your partner over and over again. It doesn't normally bother you during the month, but in this week, those things really irritate you and make you feel like you're going to lose your in fact, hit the like button if you can relate. And it might be a case that you have always struggled with PMS, it's just that it's now much more heightened and it might go on for longer. So you might find that it's 7 to 10 days before your period, or you might find that it continues into the bleed. Whereas previously, once the bleed started, your mood got instantly better. You might find the first few days of your period, you're still feeling a little bit irritated. And whilst talking about mood changes, the next sign that could indicate perimenopause is an increase in anxiety. You might find yourself overthinking, worrying about things that never used to bother you, like for example driving or certain social situations. And it might come with physical symptoms like pressure on the chest, palpitations, heat, sweatiness. Often women will tell me they experience this anxiety at ovulation or in that period between ovulation and the bleed starting. And that's because of the loss of progesterone. Progesterone is very calming. It can be thought of as our anti-anxiety hormone. It also interacts with our anti-anxiety neurotransmitter GABA, so less progesterone, less GABA, more anxiety. And what I often see with this is a loss of confidence. And this is where we need to start prioritizing ourselves and start letting go of all those shoulds and musts that get placed on us as women, that we put on ourselves, we pressurize ourselves with. We absolutely, without fail, have to start prioritizing quiet time, self-care, reducing those stress levels, and letting go of all those shoulds and musts. The other thing that is influenced by progesterone levels is sleep. And so sleep can become problematic at this time. And in this perimenopausal period, it tends to be problems falling asleep, but we're all individuals. So for others, it will be light sleeping, it'll be frequent waking in the night. And of course, if you're not sleeping properly, that's not going to help with any mood changes or anxiety or loss of confidence that you might be experiencing. And if you're experiencing anxiety or higher levels of stress, that's going to impact your ability to make melatonin, our sleep hormone, which means you're not going to sleep as well, and we end up in this vicious cycle. So again, it really comes back to prioritizing that self-care, reducing those stress levels, being quiet and mindful in the evening to allow optimal sleep. Number 5 and number 6 are things I talk about all day, every day. So number 5 is a loss of libido. For around, I'd say 95% of women, libido just tanks at this time. There is zero interest. It's like the lights have just been switched off. And on the one hand, we're reaching the end of fertility, so perhaps for the brain, sex is just not important. On the other hand, we are what's called the sandwich generation. We're giving all of ourselves away to looking after elderly parents, still caring for children, whilst working and trying to maintain our own health, and we get sandwiched in the middle and end up exhausted. And from this place, we do not have anything left in the tank for sexual desire. And if this is familiar to you, do check out this video here where I do provide a lot of tips to helping you get your libido back. Number 6 is weight gain. And in fact, it's more than weight gain. It's that your usual methods of losing weight and keeping it off do not work anymore. And what we can see in the estrogen dominant state is weight gain on the hip, the thighs, the chest, the back, and perhaps with cellulite. Whereas in a blood sugar balance issue or a stress issue, it will be weight gain in that belly area, that menopausal belly that a lot of women struggle with. So you can look at where you're putting weight on and get clues as to what you need to be doing to tackle this. So in that estrogen dominant state, we're looking at gut health, we're looking at lots of fiber, we're looking at bowel health, liver health. And with the belly weight, we are thinking stress, so stress reduction and insulin blood sugar balance. So there you have it, some signs that you might be entering the perimenopause. And if you found this useful, make sure you've hit the subscribe and the notification button, because in the next few weeks I'm going to have some more videos on perimenopause coming out, including where to even start to help manage symptoms and hormone testing.